As part of getting ready for this talk, I called the entomology department at the university, and I don't know if you've ever heard Phil Pelletieri on the radio talking about bugs, but that guy is pretty excited about bugs. So I just called him up out of the blue, and I talked to him for probably an hour and a half or something, and you know, I was driving around, I had to go, but he was still pretty excited about his bugs. But he was telling me that even in this time when they were going out, a real hotbed area for tick diseases is the Spring Green, Governor Dodge State Park. That's been the primary hotspot even when we first started locating the anaplasmosis in our horses. He did some work early in this time, and you know, they actually looked at ticks on deer and were measuring how much Lyme was in them around the state. And it was primarily started in Spring Green, but now is spreading this way. Middleton's, even in Middleton, they're finding the ticks with Lyme there. Another hotbed area now is more on the eastern part of the state, in the Kettle Moraine, Lake Geneva area, working its way up that way. So I believe there's more cases, and things are moving across the state and the country.
Do they know how they originated in this area?
No, I mean, presumably the reason that it's regional, like you saw in the diagram that it's regional, is the tick population, the black-legged tick, Ixodes tick, the places where the habitat is the best are those regions. I think the New England and our area are similar in topography, and so I believe that's why the southwestern part of the state might have been more affected. Maybe the Kettle Moraine area is more similar geographically. And so I think it has to do with how the tick lives, really. So all the entomologists are always have the buzzword of integrated pest management. How do we take care of the bugs? We have a lot of things to control to try and minimize our animals' exposure to ticks. So there's environmental controls that we can do, intermediate host controls that we can do, and products we can apply to our pets and horses, and products that we need to maybe apply to ourselves, protective clothing and such. So environmental control. If we keep the pasture mowed from getting very tall, I mean, the ticks tend to like mid-height grasses and brush. So if we keep the pasture mowed down, fence line, brush controlled as much as we can, maybe at least 3 feet away from the fence line, we'll have less migration of those ticks over to where the horses are. We can actually, if we have a really good tick habitat that we really can't change, along the fence line or whatever, we could spray some tick products in the spring and really knock down the larval and nymph stages of ticks so that we could minimize our horses' exposure to ticks. So the two products are Sevin and any permethrin-based spray. If we were to spray, we want to make sure we do it a little bit of pressure so we get it penetrated under the leaf matter and any organic matter that might be there, so we get that soaked pretty well, because the ticks are going to be living down below that, as well as the mice. So mice control, anytime you control your shrubbery and underbrush, you're going to control the mice nesting area. And so if you can push the mice deeper away from the pasture, you're going to do your horses some favor. What can we apply to our horses? There are some labeled drugs that can be applied for ticks. One is Amitraz. It does come as a spray, but if I had to do that, I don't think you could get near your horse because it smells so strong that I don't think you'd be all that happy about that. Permethrin pour-on products, we've tried some of those. I have had people use frontline fipronil on horses, spraying it on. It gets quite expensive to do a horse, though. If we are to be using Amitraz or permethrin-based products, we do have to be careful of our cats. These products are toxic to cats, so keep them away.
Mr. Kolb, have there been longitudinal studies on those foreign products with the horses and any possible side effects later, such as association with cancer?
Yeah, the short answer is no, probably not.
They have been done studies with companions that have found correlation.
Yeah, and so, we should be always careful of any chemical we're using. However, there's always a risk reward in whatever you do. If you leave your horse without protection and you can't control the ticks, then the Lyme disease and the other things that ticks cause can be as bad or worse as the small chance that you might get some horse tumors, cancers, or whatever. Cancers in the horse are rare events anyway, so I would put that lower on the list. Tick diseases, way high, very common. I mean, basically, I would tell you that 30 to 40% of our practice is dealing with tick-related diseases, okay? So it's a big-time deal. So yeah, the chemicals might be a problem, but so are the diseases. So as I was talking to Dr. Pelletieri about our tick-related diseases that we know today, he's telling me of all the things that are just really not even discovered yet. Different Borrelia species that our tests wouldn't even, we don't even know how to test for yet. This particular article, in the New York Times, new tick-borne disease discovered in 2011. So I think there are bugs out there that we don't even know yet. Sometimes we see horses that we don't know what symptoms, but they have a fever. They don't test on our tests, but they respond to tetracycline. What's going on? I don't know. I don't think, because our stuff is so regional, there's not a lot of scientific rigor maybe going after what's all happening, but I believe that things are going to be up and coming with new diseases that are discovered. So we kind of have been mulling this over. What are we going to do to help our horses? Because there's really no good way to control ticks in horses. So the big thing is, yes, let's control the environment as much as we can. We came up with an idea of using some tick collars, putting them on each limb. These tick collars should last for 3 months. They will bust off if they get caught up. You want to put them on snug, but not too snug, maybe getting your finger in there. But it should help the ticks that might be crawling up from the ground up